Good morning, everybody. I am smiling, but I'm not smiling because I think all of us have seen the viral video of the teacher in California who is shouting, "SOH CAH TOA, SOH CAH TOA." Well, yes, we all know it's stupid. Yes, it's offensive. Yes, it's racist. We all probably got pissed off about it. But at the end of the day, what are we going to do about it? That's where the action of all of this comes into play. And yes, it can make us mad. Yeah, we can get upset about it. But at the end of the day, what are we going to do about it as Native people? Well, the reason I'm making this and wanted to talk to you all is just to give you a couple of ways that we can engage these types of behaviors and really take this head on, because a lot of times we feel the anger, we feel the frustration, we want to go and find this lady, we want to cancel her on social media. But is that going to move those things forward and start to stop and bring these things to our awareness? There's a lot of these kinds of things that are happening right now in your school. They may not be as blatant as this lady jumping around, but they're hidden in the curriculum that doesn't talk about Native people, or or marginalizes or pushes us to the side, or just completely doesn't talk about us at all. There are the teachers who come into our communities with stereotypes and biases that may not completely understand how or why, the reasoning of why we do things, our belief systems, our knowledge systems, our value systems. They may not know those things, and there's no one really to help them and guide them in that process. There's also the other things like that are way over our heads, like the policy, the legislation, those things that are coming down from other places that may be impacting what's happening at our school districts, in our schools, and in our classrooms. And so a couple of things that you can do that can really be impactful for you, your student, but even your community and your tribe and all other students. So one of the things is to contact your schools. Ask them about their curriculum. Is the curriculum attached to the local community? Is it culturally appropriate? Is it responsive? Is the curricula connecting the students to things in their community? Are students able to learn through the lens that they have from their community, such as their cultural beliefs, their languages, but also the places and spaces that they come from, and more importantly, their families? The other one is looking at asking, what kind of training and professional development are my teachers getting that serves my student and are working with my students? A lot of times our teachers don't have any training or professional development in being culturally responsive, building relationships. Yes, the content is important and all the information that kids get, that's important. But knowing that a kid feels safe, they feel supported, they feel advocated, the relationships they build in their schools is the most impactful component of this. Because if they don't feel well, they're not going to learn well. The other part is really looking at getting involved in schools. School events. Schools hold all kinds of events, and sometimes they may not, as parents, we may be like, I don't want to go to curriculum night. I don't want to go to science night. Parent-teacher conferences may not necessarily sound all that exciting, but it is a way to engage and learn more about what's happening with your student and how they're learning and what's being afforded. But more importantly, asking questions and getting to know the knowledge and really feeling connected with it. A lot of times Native people don't feel they're connected to their schools. And that is a historical side point that we look at from boarding schools that's still a part of this now. We're disconnected from the learning environment. It's about time we start to connect and really start to ask questions of our school district, and what they're providing and what they plan to provide for our students. The other part is we really need school board members. There are school boards and there's people on those boards that don't represent our communities. They don't represent us. And so, for instance, in a lot of these public school districts that have large populations of Native Americans, there may be no Native American representation on there. There may be one. And so we need Native representation on school boards. And you don't have to be an expert in education. You don't have to be an expert in policy. You just need to be a parent that cares and wants to create change in your school district and for your school. Become an advocate. If there's something that you see that feels wrong, it doesn't look right, it probably isn't right. So bring those to people's attention. Just take those to principals, administration, write letters, get a group of parents together, be advocates. And there's power in numbers. So there's more of you, the better. And if you can get a tribe involved to really look at what are some of the specific asks and wants and fixes. Don't go with a bunch of, hey, this isn't working, and not have a solution. We really need your minds and your input on what those solutions are going to be for the educational process. And the last thing is just learn about things that are happening in your local community. There's a lot of things happening at the local, regional, state, even national level that affect what's happening in our communities. Recently, in the recent past, there was the Yazi Martinez case. There's still a lot of people in New Mexico that never heard about this landmark case that affects not only Native Americans, but a lot of disenfranchised groups, such as second language learners and handicapped students in our state and the services that they provide. And so when we think about these things, we wanted to learn about all of these things that are going on. Doesn't mean you have to be an expert, but just read about it. Go and Google education in New Mexico here and there. There's a really good Transform Education New Mexico has some great stuff that's a part of this. I know that my organization, National Indian Education Association, has some really good resources that you can look at. And there's some other places that really have started been putting out. Indian Country Today has been a really great resource. They've revamped a lot of the things that they're doing. Thanks to Leah Chavez from Kiwa Pueblo for helping do that. But there's a lot of this stuff that is really that we're not aware of, that from the policies that are really affecting our communities. So before I go, I just want to say, yes, those things piss us off. Yes, those things we shouldn't be having those things in this day and age, but they exist. And they're going to continue to exist if we don't take action and be actionable and taking our voices up and elevating those things. So I'll be right there fighting the fight with you. And if there's anything that you all need from an advocacy standpoint, please reach out to me, to your educational entities, to other resources that are out there. We're glad to help you. And I hope you have a good day, and let's fight the good fight. Thank you. And I hope this wasn't too long. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Bye.